Welcome everyone to our today's webinar called Juice Up Your Meetings, Tools, Tips and Methods to Make Online Conferences Interesting, Fun and Engaging. My name is Jochen Schell. I'm the director of YEP Europe, an NGO based in Berlin. And before we start with the webinar, I'll give you a very short introduction into who we are, YEP Europe. I'll give you some information also on the framework of this webinar, the COHIT 21 initiative we launched this year. And in terms of technical information on how to use Zoom, our speaker will give you more information about this. So very shortly, YEP Europe, as I said, we're based in Berlin. We are basically, we are part of the International Academy here in Berlin, and we are at the center of the YEP Community Network, which is a European network of youth organizations, communities, municipalities, basically organizations working directly with the young people. And you have here on the left some key figures. 20 years, we celebrated 20 years of YEP last year in 2020. We have 46 members in 19 countries across Europe and 110 communities in the network. In terms of our outreach, we have about 1,200 residents directly involved in YEP, and of which 5,000 active young people. In terms of our role within this network, obviously we are in charge of coordinating it, in charge of things like fundraising, expansion, etc. But one of our main mission is also the development of capacity building programs for young people. So these programs are needs-based programs, so we are in very close contact with our members. We do regular surveys to find out what are the needs of young people regarding burning issues in the lives of young people. So these programs are in areas such as community and youth empowerment, social inclusion, social entrepreneurship, or what we call community-based entrepreneurship, but also in the field of media work, so media literacy or fake news, and also human rights, children's rights. We are running a program right now on the topic climate change, a climate emergency, and are developing a new one on mental health. So the topics are very wide-ranging, and this is just to give you a broad idea on who we are and what we do. Also quickly on the COHIT 21 initiative. So COHIT stands for Confidence, Opportunities, Hope, Inspiration, and Talents. And basically, it's a series of online and offline learning and exchange activities we are organizing this year. They are webinars like the one today. They are podcasts, inspiration labs, we call them. And they are art challenges, debates, and campaigns. So it's a wide range of activities with the aim of counteracting some of the negative impacts of the pandemic. As we know, it has been having a lot of negative impacts on young people, on not only young people, but we try to basically foster, as I said, confidence, opportunities, hope, and inspiration and talents through these activities. And this is why the first webinar we are organizing today fits quite well into this. Our way of meeting has changed dramatically since last year, as we all know. And this is why we chose this topic today, and Helena will tell you more about it in a few seconds. I just introduced her to you. Helena Habija is a youth facilitator, trainer, and coach. Her professional path has been in education and entrepreneurship. and she's been focusing on researching creative models and methods of facilitation, designing and developing programs and curricula. And well, she's an online and offline facilitator, conference leader, and trainer working with not only young people, but also young people, but also entrepreneurs, accelerators, and civil society organizations. Helena, thank you so much for being with us today, and the floor is yours. I let you continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Jochen. Thank you for inviting me for this first webinar. I'm really honored to be here. Well, welcome everyone else. I'm glad you're here and that you're interested in the topic of, let's say, online trainings, online facilitation, online meetings, but also online workshops. I'm going to share my screen. And we can start with the workshop. So today's topic, as Jochen said, it's going to be online meetings and workshops and anything that you do online when it comes to, facilitation and moderation, education, or anything similar. It's been quite hard adjusting to the new normal, let's say. And when we talk about online meetings and online workshops or anything online, yes, this is something that we use on a daily basis, but is this something that you do in a right way, really creative way, collaborative way? And it's possible. It's really possible to do it through some methods, some tools, and some different things that you can use. We're going to start with really quickly everything that you try out, and there are going to be some things that you try out today. This is a bit different. This is Zoom webinar. We're not on a Zoom meeting, so you don't have access to all the things that you would have as a participant if you were just on an online Zoom meeting. The main thing that you will be able to use is chat. So we will be predominantly communicating to the chat. You can ask questions. There will be some links that you will need to access to do some workshops and access some tools outside of Zoom. Also, you will be using, and we will be using Pool. Pool is a tool that enables you to really quickly ask questions, get answers, test the content that you just presented, or have a bit of fun and test some things, or test how are the participants feeling. So we're going to start with this because I really want to know where are you now and how are you feeling. So maybe you're really sleepy and you don't feel like being here. I guess, well, some of us did not, are maybe tired from yesterday or did not wake up completely until now. Maybe you're really curious, like the dog on B, and cannot wait to find things out and how are things going to work out and learn something new. Maybe you're really eager, really excited about this. So vote. How are you feeling at the beginning of this webinar? Okay, maybe like 20 people still did not vote. Just to give you a few seconds more for everyone to have a chance to vote. Maybe you're still thinking, I'm not sure, how are you feeling currently? Great, Tanya, you're sharing the results so you can all now see. So we used Pool tool in Zoom, and you can see that 14% of you is feeling tired. 69%, so most of you is feeling really curious about the content of this webinar, and 16% of you, or 15 participants, is feeling really eager and excited to learn something new. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tanya, for sharing the poll. This is a really great tool, something that you can use to open up workshop, something that you can use to measure how things went in the workshop. So to maybe measure the content, measure how you did as a facilitator, or what is still missing to prepare for the next time. So it's really good tool and really simple tool to use in Zoom. And of course, we're going to talk about other tools really soon. So just before we start, some guidelines for working together for you, and also a tip that it's always good to set the guidelines at the beginning of any workshop, any online meeting, to make sure that everyone is at the same point, and when we set a scene that everyone knows what's expected. So let's be on time. If possible, have always camera on and microphone off if you're not speaking. Use the raise the hand tool if you want to say something. If you're in a normal meeting, you would be using this. If not, depending on this webinar, you're not able to maybe ask the questions out loud. Also, make sure that, be present. Make sure that everyone is there on the workshop. That meaning being present is following all the content, is engaging in all collaborative assignments, and it's there, thinking about the content to be able to get the informations in. Really, the difference between online and offline workshop is that, it's really hard to be in front of the screen for a long time. So it's really good to try to do some activities, and I will go through some of them to make sure that everyone is present. Also, as a facilitator, as someone that is leading the workshop online, always make sure that you address the issue of other people, participants, participating with different tools. So there is a big difference if you're participating in an online meeting from a laptop or a computer or with the phone. On the phone, you will not be able to access and do all the things that you can on the computer. So make sure you address this at the beginning and set the guidelines for those accessing the meeting or workshop over the phone. Really quick intro into today's program. We're going to talk about introduction, methods and tools, openings, closing, and energizers. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. You're going to get some tips and tricks over the whole webinar. So I'm always going to maybe add a sentence or two to give you a bit of insight or a tip what to do in certain situation. So everything that we do is not in this kind of, yes, it is the program, but we will do other different things. And questions, we'll have time, hopefully 10 minutes for questions at the end. So how we will communicate? We will mostly communicate over chat. Also, we have Carla on Facebook, and she will also lead the chat there. Hopefully it's going fine, and you will be able, whether you're here on the webinar or on the live stream on Facebook, be able to either ask the questions or participate in any activity. So the first thing, to try out the chat, and the first thing about today's workshop, what I wanna hear from you. Think about the first words, first sentence that comes into your head when you mention online facilitation. Write it in a chat. Don't click enter. I'm gonna give you less than 30 seconds to write something in a chat. Don't post it in a chat. We're gonna do a waterfall in the chat, and you will all post at the same time on my sign. Okay, 30 seconds to write the first thing that comes into your mind when I say online facilitation, meaning leading online meetings and workshops. Okay, I hope you're ready. On my sign, push enter now. Thank you. Wow, the waterfall of information at the same time. Okay, let's go through them really quickly. Collaboration, technology, work, collaboration, activities, dynamic, technical skills, one person, long speech. This is not what it's all about. Hopefully you will be able to see this now. Terror, chaos, connection, enjoyable, engaging, do some activities. Harder than face-to-face, more difficult to engage participants. Okay, Zoom, making all people theater at the same time, harder than live session, let's learn all together, fun ice-breaking activities, Corona time party, use a laptop, a microphone and a camera, happy. Fantastic opportunities for new ways of collaboration, learning, curiosity, interactive breakout rooms, internet, difficult to stay focused, harder to connect with participants, interaction, chaos. All the participants need stable internet connection. It is challenging sometimes. Good internet, difficulty but comfy. Ensure everyone is full engaged and getting the most out of it. Computer, perplexity, intense, connection, struggling with participants' engagement, hard work, energy, provocative, team job, group and individual touch, clarity, challenging with lack of tech knowledge. How do I use all the different options at the computer? What tools are there? Involve people. I'm not going to go through all of them, and there's a lot of you, and thank you so much for being so engaged. This is, someone mentioned engagement. Engagement is something that you can achieve over online tools. And it is something that you can do when you lead either a meeting or a workshop online. It's mostly about knowing the technology. We will go through some things today, and I will give you some tips and tricks about different platforms. I will talk about different tools, methods, and how to actually do this. Thank you so much for the getting into chat and actually writing your opinions. Let's see if this is different at the end. So when we talk the online, and the main difference for me between online and offline facilitation is preparation. It's not harder that much to facilitate online if you prepare well. The thing is that you need to double the time for your preparation if you're preparing things online. When we are offline, especially if you're, you know the topic, you are experienced in doing offline facilitation, leading workshops, meetings, and everything else, it's really easy. You can be flexible. You can change things on the spot. If you see that the group is doing differently, you can, if you don't, you can really quickly think about the next activities. So you don't have to prepare that much. Yes, you have the basic structure and everything else, but you can always take a flip chart paper and give it to someone and ask them to do something else or to change the activity when you see it. It's also hard when you're doing online versus offline to know when the energy is down, to feel the group the way you can. So when you prepare for online, it can be as great as offline if you prepare yourself, meaning you have to prepare for 5 different situations. You have to prepare additional things to use. You have to prepare additional tools. When we talked about the PowerPoint presentation that you're preparing, because at the end, even if it's online, you have to make sure that all learning styles are, they're able, everyone with a different learning style is able to get the information through according to that learning style. And that's a bit harder when you do it in online. It's all about preparation. It's all about slides. It's all about both visual and verbal. Also, you can do some energizers that will make different learning styles also engaged. It's all about preparation. Again, double the size. Usually when you do preparation, it's all about slides, especially because they give you the visual input. Personally, depending on the workshop, how long is the workshop, depends how the slides will look like. You have to explain everything step by step. It's not enough to say them. So it's all about preparation. What I also would recommend when it comes to preparation is also preparing the participants. How can you do this? You can really well do this through an intro mail, sending them a pre-email before the workshop or meeting with additional content, maybe a few videos to take them, to give them the intro to the topic. Maybe you can put in different text that someone can read before they enter the work. Maybe you can give them a form, Google form, let's say, or any kind of form where you can actually test their knowledge about a certain topic, test the knowledge about the methodologies you will be using, test the knowledge about their needs and what do they need from you as a facilitator on that meeting with a certain topic. If you do this, you will be able to adjust your content prior than participants come towards the needs of participants. And I would always do this, especially if you're doing some educative workshops or anything else. So you can do it really quickly through Google Form or any other way to do this, but pre-emails are there to prepare the participants for the topic, but also for you to test and get to know your participants better. Of course, it's different when you're, whether you have 100 participants, 30 participants, or 15 or 5 participants. According to this, you will adjust your way of work. The main thing is it's all about the essential things. When you do preparation, you have to make sure that the timing is not, that the time is not long. Whatever you could do in 6 hours in an online workshop, you will probably do maximum of 3 hours online. So the main thing is that whatever you do online, it has to be shorter. Not because you're not going to be able to cover all the topics and things, but because of the screen fatigue, the lowering the focus, and getting to people to understand and to learn the basic and these essential things. That's why when you do online workshops or meetings, the main thing is to focus on all essential things, the things that are the hardest to learn, the things that users and participants will use the most. It's all about focusing on essentials and doing them in a live digital lesson with your input as a trainer, in a collaborative, hands-on way. Other than that, you can always, all other content that you would go through if that was a face-to-face workshop and you could have 6 hours of work, you could do in an intro, pre-email, you could give them additional assignment, or you can at the end do it with a follow-up email. So really, you have this technology, which is, exists for a long time, and those are emails. You can communicate with participants and get to know them better. You can give them assignments that they can do to prepare for the next workshops, especially if you have, let's say, 5 workshops in a row according to some subject. You can always, and I would always recommend doing a follow-up email with additional information, additional links, additional videos, and everything that will give additional info about the topic and the essential thing in the topic that you just covered in an online meeting or a workshop. And that's the main thing. It's not about, going to huge number of content in 3 hours and trying to, talk to the screen all the time and going through as much as you can. It's all about the participants understanding the essential thing, trying it out, being there, doing collaborative work, doing interactive work, and everything else, they can read or watch a video or anything else. Just make sure that you focus on essential and you downsize the time of the workshops when they're online. When it comes to platforms, I'm going to really quickly cover some things about the platforms because, a lot of people think it's all about the technology. And technology is there, technology is there for us to use, and it's not there for us to, let's say, adjust to it. We are the users of the technology, and we are there to be as creative as we can when we use this technology. When you use certain platform, it doesn't mean you can only use this. According to what you use, it would be great to add additional tools, which we will try out in this webinar too, to engage people in a different way. So when it comes to platforms, there are a lot of different platforms, and some of them give you, options to enable breakout rooms, to communicate in chat, give you polls, whiteboards, or anything else. But the main thing is, when you do use all of those tools, to know them as much as you can, to try them out, even if you try them out prior to the workshop with, having a coffee with a friend and trying out online whiteboard, having a coffee with a friend and trying out, a pool, trying breakout rooms or anything else. You have to, as a trainer, as a facilitator, you have to know the tools that you will be using. And when it comes about a lot of tools, there are a lot of videos and everything that you can watch online. But the main thing is, you learn the best if you try them out. When you work in a groups, and working in a groups, if you're doing hands-on work, collaborative work, it should be a part of every workshop. It's really good also for the meetings, because you can do 3 different things at the same time. Especially if you have, let's say, 15-30 participants, it's really good to give them some time in the group to work on a certain topic, to have time to reflect, to have time to do some hands-on work, and to present after that. What's really important, to give them assignments that are visually presented step by step. What's really important is the communication that some platforms enable you to do through chat or through help button, or to really quickly jumping into different rooms, and also using multiple tools and options. So if you say to the participants in group, for the next assignment, we will be using online whiteboard in we will be using a piece of paper. We will be using this, this, and this. It really doesn't matter what you use. The main thing is to give them more options. Whatever they can do on an online whiteboard in the group, they can also do on a piece of paper. They can also do on a Google document or Word document. They can also do in slides. So always give participants more options to finish the assignment. Also be really clear about this assignment. Everything needs to be step by step. Not only said by you, it has to be presented in a visual way. Not only the steps, but also the time needed to finish the assignment. I always say to the participants of the workshops, because you send them to the breakout room to do a certain assignment for 15 minutes or 13 minutes or 20 minutes. There are a lot of parts of that assignment, and some of them will write them down. Some of them will just listen and think they remembered. I always say, like, present it step by step on the PowerPoint, and ask the participants before they go into the group work to take the photo or a print screen of the assignment. This way you will prevent them asking you all the time to jump in different groups and asking you questions, what was actually the assignment? And they could ask only the things that are really connected to the topic or some problems they have in the work. Also, make sure that they focus on the assignment and not on the use of technology. That's why I say give them different options and say, okay, if the whiteboard is not working, test it for a few seconds. If it's not working, just take a piece of paper and go and finish the assignment, because the focus is on the assignment and not the technology. One thing that you can be sure of, that technology is not going to work, and it's not going to work the same for everyone. So give different options. When it comes to dividing and preparing workshops, it's good to divide them in certain ways. Of course, you would do this also if this was an offline workshop, but here it really enables participants to stay present. Those are openings, closings of workshops, and energizers. When you do opening of the workshop, and we started with 2 activities that both were engaging. You all had to engage, meaning you all had to be present to engage and to focus on the topic. We were measuring, like, how are you feeling currently? But also when it comes to connecting something to the topic of the workshop, it was online facilitation. What currently is the first thing that comes into your mind when you hear this? So this way, everyone participated at the beginning. This way, you as a trainer or facilitator could get to know your audience better and see what are the topics that you need to maybe cover. But also it made them be present, and it was great intro into workshop. When it comes to openings the workshop, you can do a lot of interactive things. Here are some examples. You can do a rebus, you can do some puzzles, you can do photo, video, or you can do some crosswords. When you see this crossword, you think like, how are they going to do this? Well, you're not able to try this out now, but later after this Zoom meeting, if you still did not try, and if you use Zoom, annotation tool, try it out. Annotation tool enables everyone in the Zoom meeting, not webinar, to actually draw on top of the slides, meaning that you can write, you can make lines, notes, you can draw, or anything else. You can do the same thing on the whiteboard, especially the whiteboard that enables you to upload the photo of the crossword puzzle or anything else. But this is a great way to start, and you can generate crossword puzzles with the words that actually are connected to the topic that you are talking about. So using it and doing it first, opening a workshop, always do it in an interactive and collaborative way. You can do an online puzzle. It can be done online, and we did not prepare one for today because of the time, but hopefully you will be able to try them out and to see. You upload any photo and you can work and do put together any online puzzle that can be with the title of the workshop or anything else. So this is different ways. So here, be creative. It can be and doesn't need to be connected to the topic, but it's great if it is, because it's a great intro to it. The main thing is make it collaborative, make it interactive, and everyone to try out some of the technology that you're using. Also, as much as the openings, it's really important the closings. So you can do checkout question. You can do poll at the end to enable you to actually test what we did today. Both of them you can do in openings and closings. This is maybe more about opening still, and I will go to closing. So checkout and check-in questions are really good questions to setting the scene about what I actually did today. A check-in question was your first thing that you think about when you hear the word online facilitation, and we did it in a waterfall on the chat. Pool, we also used pool to measure, how are you feeling? Are you ready for this workshop? What you can also do is treasure hunt. You can give some assignments and some questions to answer and send participants to a certain website to find those information, and then again use the chat to actually answer the questions that I had to use. This is a great way to get to know the participants with the topic. When it comes to closings are also important. The same thing, you can do checkout questions, you can do polls at the end. Polls at the end are really good to actually test if everyone understood the topic well. Also to check, are there some things that are not still clear? So you can go and talk about them in the next meeting. Also using different things like with annotation tools A to Z of the topic. So if I said A to Z to online facilitation at the end of this workshop, we could do C for collaborative and all the other things, and we are finished with the workshop when everyone fills in this. Also in this, if I was doing this on Zoom meetings, I would be using annotation tool on top of this slide. Again, check out question and pool I mentioned. This is also a great way to do this. And you can do this either with annotation, but also on the piece of paper. The same thing goes to A to Z. If you're not able to actually do it with the annotation tool, they can use a piece of paper and write A to Z, each of them personally for themselves, work on this in a group. When it comes to fact, question, and aha moment, you can measure one fact or a key point they learned. You can see what questions are still left unanswered, and you can see what was the aha moment, a moment of realization for them from the topic that you actually presented on a workshop or a meeting. This is a great way not only to measure and to answer all the unanswered questions, but it's great to actually get the feedback from the audience. At the end, you can always open up in the checkout the mic and get people to ask the questions, give feedback, evaluation. At the end of the workshops, usually evaluation is also a good thing to do. You can do evaluation. Didn't mention it here in the slide, but you can actually do evaluation in a way that you either use poll again in the evaluation. You can use annotation and slide asking, what would the learnings that they would take with them, and maybe something that they would left behind. You can use Google Forms or anything else, but when it comes to, getting that information in, do them as a part of the meeting, because usually afterwards in an email, most of the people will not answer. And if you do them at this point in the end of the workshop, it's really good, because right away it's a feedback for you to know what to do better next time, but it's also for everyone else a really good interactive activity. So a big problem, and the difference between offline and online, is screen fatigue. Downsizing the screen fatigue is really important, because if you don't do this, participants will not be able to follow the content. First thing, how to do it really simply: shorter workshops. Focus on essential, do things in a shorter workshops, take breaks. But again, if you do 6 hours of online workshops and I'm taking breaks, half an hour here, half an hour here, half an hour here, it's still 6 hours in front of a screen. So don't do 6 hours workshops. I would even say don't do 3 hours workshops. Do them less than 3 hours, and that would be the maximum thing to do, and focus on the essential. Downsize the time of the workshops as much as you can. The next thing, how to do with and enable people to feel energized and not feel the screen fatigue that much, are the energizer activities. You can see here, an activity, a true activity with moving legs and everything else. It's always good, because you're sitting in front of the screen to do something else. Use your body to do something else. You can always add the openings and closings connected to the theme, and they don't have to be connected to the theme. So depends on this, you can do them. Energizers are really good and fun activity to do. And I mean, this activity, this would be one energizers. I didn't prepare it, but we have time, so we're gonna do it. So when it comes to this, the change between online and offline, from offline to online facilitation, is hard. It's hard for all of us, because it came really quickly. We had to shift from offline to online like this. It was not a short process, and it's hard. For some harder, for some easier. But anyway, change is hard, and changing something that we used to do is hard. How hard? We can actually try it out with an energizer. So I would ask you to put your right leg up like this. You can see my leg. All of you, you're sitting there. We're 35 minutes in. It's time for an energizer. Let's use a part of our body to feel more energized for the leg. Put the right leg up. Okay, perfect. Try going with it in a clockwise circles. Do the clockwise circles with your right leg. Then take your right arm and put it in the air too. And try drawing number 6 at the same time when you're still doing the clockwise circles with your right leg. Is it hard? Well, I would ask you to put, or if I could able to actually get your voice in and ask you, is this hard? I think for me, it's really hard, because when I started doing number 6 with my arm, I started going with my leg in the same direction, and it should be opposite. So change is hard. this card as moving your right leg and right arm in opposite direction when you do circles. So it's hard. This is a great intro and a great way to actually, again, make participants present, change the energy in the room, and make them ready for the rest of the topic. And I know, people think, oh, energizers. Energizers are only if it's not a serious topic. If you work with young people, that is not true. We all need a bit of fun. We all need a bit of, creative thinking. There are different energizers that you could do depending on the topic. Energizers are great for team building, and you can do that in the breakout rooms. Energizers are great for getting people to think more creatively, to get them think out of the box. Energizers, as the word says, are great for changing the energy in the room. But energizers are also a great way to cover certain topic. There are a lot of resources that you can find online about different energizers, and use them. It doesn't matter how, important or serious the meeting or workshop is. Use them because they can help. They don't always have to be funny. I use 2 funny ones. It's all about changing the energy. This is a great one. I said like crazy hat party. I could, instead of asking you, to get you more in a creative mood, I could tell you to turn off your cameras and microphones, take 30 seconds, walk around the room, find the first thing that can make a crazy hat, put it on, and at my side, you can turn on the cameras, and we would all have crazy hats, on our head, like a lemon. It would be a bit of fun. It would be a bit of thing to talk about. It would change the energy, especially if you're going to another topic. So this is all about energizers. Again, don't think they're only for, workshops with young people. They are for everyone, and they are so needed when you fight the screen fatigue.
Helena, sorry.
Yes, please.
There was a question from Facebook. Could you please elaborate more on the treasure hunt?
Yes.
You mentioned that.
Yes, I can. So I don't have it prepared as a slide. It would be easier if I wrote it down, as you see that everything needs to be in the steps. So you can open up a workshop, let's say this workshop. We can open it up to say, okay, we're going to be doing treasure hunt. Here is the link to the website that talks about online facilitation, or different workshops or whatever, depending on the topic. You would get the link in a chat. You would also ask questions. Let's say the question would be, find 3, always the questions in the treasure hunt had to be connected to the information that you can find on that website that you're sending them to. So it's all about, if the website was about online facilitation, find 3 different platforms that can be used for online facilitation. Find, answer the question, what are the great ways to lower the screen fatigue? And the 3rd question. So you would give them the link and give them the questions about the content that they can find on the website. Participants would go to the link in the chat. They would then afterwards really quickly browse the website or read the text that you gave them as a part of the treasure hunt, and really quickly find the answers to the questions and put them in a chat. Whoever is the first, there can be a prize, or they can be, well done, you're first, or anything else. It's up to you. But this is a treasure hunt. Treasure hunt for the answers for the questions that you gave to the participants. Usually it's a great way to introduce the topic with this, because everyone will need to read this to find the answers, read this part of the text, or browse the website to find the answers to the questions that you gave them. So it's a treasure hunt for information. Let's say it like this. Hopefully this is more clear, and thank you for the questions. Platforms, I talked about them really briefly, and I'm going to really quickly go through them. It really doesn't matter what you're using. Is it WebEx? Is it Teams? Is it Skype? Is it Hangouts or Google Meet? Is it Zoom? It really doesn't matter what you use, and not every single platform would have the same options and have the same functions. It doesn't matter which one you use. The only thing that matters is to adjust the technology to your way of working. How to do this? So let's say Skype only has, a call, video call. It doesn't have breakout rooms. It doesn't have a bunch of other things. Google Hangouts also, like, yes, Zoom, Teams, Cisco WebEx, and everything else, they have a lot of different functions. But when it comes to doing things, on certain platforms that are not as let's say they don't have that much functionality, you can always use them. But also, the best way to do this is to combine the tools. So, online platform to use for, online meetings or workshop is not the only tool that exists. There are so many collaborative online tools that you can easily use just by accessing the link. So, whiteboard. Zoom has whiteboard as a functionality if you're doing Zoom meetings. It's really plain whiteboard. You can write and draw on it. You cannot upload the photos. You cannot upload or do sticky notes or anything else. There is not a lot that you can do on a Zoom whiteboard. And maybe this is not, even if you use Zoom, going to be your preferred tool. But there are other online whiteboards like Miro, like AWW, like Jamboard. You can use Google Slides. Any whiteboard that suits the way you work, you need to try them out to see what works the best for you. But using the whiteboard that's also collaborative and it's a tool outside of the platform that you're using, I would always suggest. You can usually access them. They're mostly free, at least the basic package. You can always access them and share them over the link. So let's say you put a link in the chat, all participants enter the whiteboard and they just use it there and work on it there. So combined tools. Pool, not every platform has pool. You can always do Google Forms. Yes, it might be it's different and it's not going to be the same feel. Google Forms or Doodle or anything else, you can adjust the technology to yourself. Breakout rooms, the same thing. You can maybe use Google Sites and put different links in it or anything. Work around this and combine the tools. Not only these tools for whiteboard, pool, and breakout, there are a lot of tools to use too. One of them is actually we're going to be using today. So it's going to be really good to try it out, and you will see at this webinar how this actually functions with the link in the chat. This is an example of a whiteboard that actually enables you, to add the photos in, to add different text links and everything else. Zoom whiteboard doesn't, but maybe you prefer Zoom whiteboard or you don't need this kind of big thing. The main thing is it's not only for workshops. If you're thinking about, a meeting, a planning, strategic planning, you can create Gantt chart, you can play with it, create a plan, and it can be really creative and collaborative. So it's, it's like having a whiteboard in an office with pens. It's just using this one in an online format and using it. And it's really like, at the end, it's much easier to save this work than to take a photo of the whiteboard, which may be blurry, or you will not be able to read someone's handwriting or anything else. This is a really useful tool to use during the online webinars and planning. So really quickly, some tips and tricks. For me, plan well. Planning is everything. Plan 3 different, tools. Plan 3 different ways of facilitating some things, because you will probably need them. It's better to have, and also when you plan, and this connects to manage time well, you always want to do more. And when you do things online, time passes so quickly. Focus on the essential. Have the thing that you want to achieve, of course, according to the objective of the workshop or the meeting or anything else that you must achieve. And then plan additional 5 things that you can do if you have enough time. I would always say this. Focus on essentials. I also said this at the beginning. It's about the hardest thing to learn. It's about the most useful thing to learn. It's about the focus and the essential thing that you need to present to your participants. Design and presentation, always if you're using it, use the color, use the design. I'm not going to say it's going to be few slides. This workshop was more than 30. If you do, and this was 45 minutes plus your questions and everything else. You have to be aware that preparation and doing slides is a part of the preparation is going to take a long time. I have, if it's a 3-hour workshop, I usually have between around 150 slides, and it takes time to prepare this. So make sure that you have that time. Manage time, I said, just plan well. Time passes quickly. Make sure that you will be able to finish everything planned in the time that you have. Pre and follow-up emails are there to actually help you manage time better, because you can do some things before and some things in a follow-up email with giving participants more information about the topic or getting more information from them. Engage all participants. Of course, it's much easier if you have up to 15, I would say, but that's the same as in the offline workshop. If you have up to between 12 and 15 participants, really everyone can be engaged. But if you have more than that, well, probably you will not be able to engage everyone, but there are ways. You could see in the poll and in the chat, we did manage to engage you. Make it 70 to 80% interactive. This was not 70% to 80% interactive. This is a webinar. But if you're doing a live digital lesson that has both your input and enables participants to use all the Zoom tools, make it 70 to 80% interactive. It's all about them realizing and getting the topic and trying it out. You can do it as interactive as offline. Relax. The main thing is you as a trainer, as a facilitator, relax. Make sure, things will not work perfectly. Chat will not work perfectly. Tools will not work perfectly. Relax, plan well, and give additional options. It doesn't matter if someone does things online on the whiteboard or does it on a piece of paper and then presents it like this. It really doesn't matter if the assignment is done. Have more options. Again, give them more options, because it's not always using the same technology. It's better them to focus 10 minutes on the assignment than 10 minutes on trying to get the technology works. The same things goes for you as a trainer. Mix tools and be creative. We're gonna do a bit of tool mixing now. Yes.
There is a question from people about the whiteboard.
Okay.
Used. Could you please come back to this again and tell us the name of the tool, or where do people find it?
Okay, so when it comes to online whiteboards, it does depend on how you need it and everything else. Miro is a really good whiteboard. It enables you to do big things, add photos, post it. You could do mind mapping on it, planning on everything else. AWW is also a great collab. I had some there. AWW is a really great collaborative map. What it does give you, it enables you to also upload the slides there, and you can work on the top of the slides if that is easier way to actually prepare some things. I mean, the same as in annotation tool in Zoom. But what it also gives you, it gives you templates. AWW in a free option gives you templates, from brainstorming templates. You have right away have a template on the slide for business model canvas templates, design thinking templates. So have a look at it and see how it works for you. Jamboard is a free Google whiteboard. It's really simple. Post-it notes. You can also upload photos. Write, draw, or anything else. It's really good. It enables you to do multiple pages. So you can have, let's say, if you have a meeting or anything else, you can have multiple pages, let's say 10 pages of whiteboard in one document on Jamboard, which is really great about Jamboard. If you're using Google Drive, it right away saves into Google Drive. So it's something that's there. You don't have to save or download or anything else. You can, but you don't have to if you're using this. I would say that each of the, also whiteboard in Zoom is not bad. You know, I use it for associative drawings or, you know, mind mapping or anything else. The main thing is you cannot upload photos or do some other things. So that might be a bit of things that you need. If you need some of those things, use something else. Miro is really good. I could go, there are like 20 online whiteboards, and each of them has specific things that actually work for you. Of course, I'm not going to say go and try out 20 whiteboards, you know, but try out, let's say, a couple of those maybe presented there, or some others that you can find. Try 2 or 3 and find the one that works best for you, depending on your needs. Miro is great because you can really, you know, you can do large things on it, you know, big mind maps, you know, like the one presented there, because it enables you to zoom out and zoom in and do things in a small thing. So depending on what you need, whiteboards are a great way to do this. Also, I don't know, hopefully this gives you more insight. Today, the tool that we are now gonna be using, it's called Padlet. It's a board. It's not a whiteboard, it's a board. This board, it's also, you know, it can go on and on and on. It doesn't have an end. So to put information in it, it works really well. We're going to be using it in a way that we use chat in a beginning. So we're going to be using it for you. And I'm going to really quickly, Tanya will probably, I'm going to go into...
yes, okay. I'll see it in the chat.
So there is a link in the chat. We have some things in. So this is a board. Padlet is a board. You will access it as an additional tool from the chat. Your assignment is to, again, after this whole webinar, right now, what do you think the first about when you hear words online facilitation? The same question. We're not using chat. We're not doing a waterfall. I just need, what's your opinion now and what do you think now about the words online facilitation? Additional thing that you could do, because Padlet enables you, it's not only words that you can put, you know, photos, GIFs, try out something else. And you can actually do this really quick. I'll show you. I can see that you're all playing, but let me show you really quickly how to do this. There is a plus. You can write a title, write something else, but also you can add a GIF from Google, of course. So let's say I can put this. This is what I think about online facilitation. Maybe it's a bit creative or anything else, but it's, you know, energy and creativity. So play with it. So this is just to show you how to use it. So don't actually use only, perfect, you're playing with it. This is the difference between using chat only, because you can upload photos into chat, but I cannot see them and I have to download them and everything else. So use different tools for a same assignment. Let's go. There is a lot of things happening here. Sharing, cool, multiple options, interaction, needs training both for facilitation, learning new methods, fun. Well, I'll have to let you first finish to be able to go through all of those things. This, you can use it also on a whiteboard, you can do it on a Padlet or anything else. Let's see. Organization, timing, creativity, a thorough preparation, interaction. Well, I'm losing some of those. So in Padlet, you can definitely, interaction, cool, facilitation, opportunities. This is from Facebook probably. Need training, learning new methods, access to more participants and trainers, global, virtual training, facilitation, opportunities for many, information and practices. Very interesting. We can do it. Yes, you can all do it. It's just trying it out. And knowing the platform that you're going to use, being creative. And, it's not, the main thing is not to think about it as something, that's not as good as offline, just go for it. You can make it as creative, as collaborative, as interesting as offline workshops. Multiple options. I don't know if Zoom is full and I cannot. Okay, we have some people, unfortunately, that were not able to access the room. Be creative, be interactive, tools, fun, so many possibilities. I hope that I can see people really well playing with it. Thank you so much. It's 12 o'clock.
Yes, Helena, we have 2 questions from the participants. So maybe even though we are behind the schedule, would you mind answering 2 questions?
Yes,
and
really quickly.
The question is about the examples of energizers. Question from Paula, Laura, and from Facebook. Could you give us more examples of energizers, physical energizers, and also energizers for youngsters with disabilities? Because Laura says that she finds it difficult to use the technologies for this. So maybe you have any ideas about that?
Yeah, so when it comes to physical, because I think it's an easier answer first. So when it comes to physical energizers, you can do anything from sending participants into breakout room and asking them to create a dance that they will play and do when they come back. Doing questions through, putting some, pens or scissors one to the other. So changing, engaging other ways. You can do karaoke singing, you can do other things. When it comes to working with people and young people with disabilities, it's quite hard depending on the disability. So you have to adjust every single thing to this. So I would definitely go for, using almost the same ones, and you can find great energizers online. I would suggest Hyper Island online tool for energizers. It can also be, different things, but when it comes to working with young people with disabilities, they have to also, the energizers need to be fun, creative, different. Adjust the ones that are suggested for, adjustment is everything. Be creative and use the ones that would fit according to the group that you work with. This goes to the same with young people with disabilities. So I would not, have any specific ones, because it does depend on the type of disability. And also if you're working with different groups, try adjusting. And this is really hard. Try adjusting the energizers, but also the whole online facilitation to the group to enable everyone to be a part of it. And I think you have a really hard, it's not easy to do online facilitation this kind of way, but it's possible. So I would, if you, I think, if you need any specific things, you can definitely, I can have a look at it, and maybe if you have specific questions, specific examples of energizers, I'm fine with sharing my email, or you have my LinkedIn or anything else. I can go into it and answer the specific question there.
Thank you, Helena. And the name of the energizer tool, people asking, that's the island?
Hyper Island. I like the Hyper Island one because, it gives you really, they're really creative. So of course there are a lot of them, But I personally find a lot of them on the Hyper Island, and not all of them are for online environment, of course. But what you can find on the Hyper Island and other things is, you know, team building energizers, you know, separately. Energizers for this separately. So you can do it really specifically and find them there. Whatever that it's there for offline, it can be adjusted for online. So think about doing it like this. And also when you do online, not everything has to be on the screen. You know, give them, you know, energizer to have a, you know, to jump around or anything else, play a game with participants. You know, yes, we are online, and this is, you know, it's only the way that we communicate. It's not about not doing everything other things offline, because we have access, we are here in the room or anything. So yeah, if we can drink coffee with our friends online, we can definitely do other things online too.
Okay, and we have the last question from the audience, from Monica. Could you please talk about the preparations and what are the 5 different situations you mentioned that we need to be prepared, or what's the most frequent situation you take in mind? I think from my perspective, the most frequent situation is that technology doesn't always work.
Yes, and that's the most frequent situation. When it comes to preparation, you know, it's, well, basic one. Every single link that you use, it's going to be on a separate document, really easy for you to access and copy and paste as a trainer. If you don't have like Tanya and Carla here to help you facilitate, having someone on the side to help you facilitate is always good, but you still have to prepare those things. Every single thing that you're going to be using in the workshop has to be prepared and easy to access. You don't have time to go through it and everything else. Every single question, it's better to be you know, written somewhere else and then copied and pasted into the chat than writing it down. You know, you have to be time efficient. When it comes to preparation and for things that don't work, is mostly technology, what Tanya mentioned, and you can mitigate it by giving different options to the participants. It's all about, you know, for me, the main thing is thinking about preparation in a different way. You cannot just take it for granted as an offline workshop that you will be able, okay, you have a flip chart here, you have a presentation here, you have a piece of paper there, you have your hands and legs and everything else, and you will be able to facilitate this and really quickly adjust to the new situation. You are not going to be able to do this here. So at the point when you, not only when the technology is not working, for me, what happens sometimes that I see that the workshop that I prepared does not work with 30 participants. The workshop that I prepared does not work the way I want it to work. And if that happens offline, you really quickly adjust. Online, you cannot. So I would even say, prepare additional workshops or part of the workshops, additional activities that if you see that some things is not working, you will be able to do this. Going to the basic preparation is, you know, the theme and the objective of the workshop. That theme has different parts. Some of them are maybe introduction, going through the history of facilitation that we could have done here now. But it's not about this. It's about, you know, focusing on the essential again, and not adding those things that are not, and losing time on this. So, you know, the preparation definitely goes from the good structure, focusing on essential, preparing for, and preparing different activities that you may or may not use according to the group and how they react. And that is really hard to do, because, you know, you are not sure which part of the group and what exercise will not work. So to be flexible enough as in offline, you're gonna need to, you know, say this 5, I said 5. So I would add additional activities. I would make sure that I have additional tools. I would make sure that, let's say, I know that if I'm using annotation tool, people from the mobile phone, that they're using mobile phone to access the workshop, will not be able to use the text tool. I will, before they even ask to use this tool, say to them, well, this will not work for you. You will put your things in the chat, and I will be the one that put it on the whiteboard, that puts it on an annotation tool or anything else. So it's knowing the technology. So I'm also talking about this preparation. It's not, you know, it's quite And even if you're prepared, you're probably not going to be prepared enough, you know. But it's more about know the technology, know the topic, focus on the essential things, make sure that the time is there, and prepare additional activities that could exchange the ones that you already prepared. That would be my 5.
Great, thank you, Helena.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much, Helena. Unfortunately, we are a little bit overstretching, but it was so interesting. Thank you so much. There were so many very interesting and useful tips. I hope it's the case for everyone. I do have some good news for those who are here. We have had so much requests. I mean, we had 500 registrations for this webinar. We had 100 people in the room. We had parallel in Facebook. We had 100 people following us. And what we already discussed with Helena and in the team is that we, given the high interest of this, that we want to do a Juice Up Your Meeting Part 2, where we could go far deeper into some of the tools and play around with them, try them out, talk a little bit more about, I heard a lot, energizers, people want to know more, to do some of those, and to basically, yeah, do a part 2, given the high interest of so many people, and given that it was so really well done by you, Helena, thank you so much. So we will publicize this soon, and hope to have, again, so many interested people with us. So here are all our websites and links to our social media pages. Thank you so much to all the people in the audience also for participating. And yeah, you will hear from us soon. We will also publish very soon activity calendar. So this COHIT 21 activity series will be also published soon, where we already announced some key dates of activities such as this one, webinars. And yeah, so keep on following us. You will hear from us, and have a great day wherever you are in Europe or beyond. And keep safe, keep healthy. And thank you so much again, Helena, and also to the team.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.